Ladies and gentlemen, we will be starting in 5 minutes' time. Thank you for coming, and please find yourself to your seats. We will be beginning in 5 minutes' time. Welcome to Miami-Dade College. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Miami-Dade College. We are 1 minute to start time. Please find your seats. Once again, welcome to Miami-Dade College. We will be beginning in 1 minute. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Town Hall of Mayor Cava for International Women's Day, hosted at Wolfson Campus, Miami-Dade College. We are happy you are here. We will begin with the national anthem as sung by Miami's own Lauren Lopez. Please rise for the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ladies and gentlemen, here to lead our Pledge of Allegiance, please welcome Officer Katrina Jackson. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Officer Jackson, and thank you for your service. Up next, please welcome Miami's Commissioner Higgins.
Good evening, everyone. It is a pleasure to welcome you here tonight to my favorite college, Miami-Dade College, Democracy's College. And what's really important about what's happening here with our new mayor, Daniella Cava, we're here to celebrate two things. Today's International Women's Day. How amazing is that we're also celebrating the 100 days of our first female mayor in Miami-Dade County. And what a better way to do it than by having a town hall where we are not just asked to listen to our new mayor, but she wants to listen to us. We are proud. I am proud to have you as my mayor. Welcome everyone to District 5. Welcome to this town hall where we engage with each other, we engage with our college partners, and we engage with our mayor as she engages with us. Good evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Miami-Dade College's Student Government Association Secretary, Isabella Cunningham.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Isabella Cunningham, and I proudly serve as the Student Government Association Secretary for Miami-Dade College, Wolfson Campus. It is a true honor to join you all this special evening as we also celebrate International Women's Day. In the spirit of this day, I share the privilege of welcoming you all to our Wolfson campus as we host a virtual town hall held by the first Madam Mayor of Miami-Dade County, Mayor Daniella Cava. It is also my pleasure and privilege to introduce you to another inspirational and fearless leader. Breaking through barriers and making history, President Madeline Pumariega is the first female president to lead Miami-Dade College, the institution she attended decades earlier as a student athlete. Her passion for innovation in higher education was born out of her own experiences, first as a student and then as a longtime administrator at MDC. Prior to becoming MDC's president, President Pumariega was appointed the first female and Hispanic chancellor of the Florida college system. In that role, she designed and implemented strategies to keep college accessible and affordable for Floridians, especially in high-demand jobs. President Pumariega has a passion for ensuring that students have a path towards upward economic mobility through educational opportunities. She prioritizes working with business partners to identify the skills needed in key industries and tailoring higher education programs to match those needs. Her transformative approach accelerates the ability of graduates to enter the workforce immediately upon the completion of their coursework. Since joining MDC on January 4th, President Pumariega has also prioritized services for students and access to technology. President Pumariega views her new role as MDC's president as the opportunity of a lifetime because it presents her with the greatest ability to serve students who are just like her, looking for a chance to realize their dreams and succeed in the community they love and call home, Miami. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming our Miami-Dade College president, President Pumariega.
Good evening. Welcome to everyone here, to everyone watching us. What a privilege it is for me personally to be hosting our mayor, someone I've known for well over 2 decades. And you know how I met her is exactly how she leads our county. When we first met, she was a convener. She was collaborating. She was connecting nonprofits all over our community to help those who needed their services most. She was a champion of the people and of our community and of lifting people. And I've watched that for the first 100 days. And so it really is a privilege that you came here to the People's College to have your town hall, to have that first 100-day report, and to celebrate International Women's Day. That we both share a first in a community that we love so much and that we've labored so hard to bring people together, to lift people up, to create paths for economic prosperity, and to know that Miami is better, that Miami-Dade County is stronger because of our own diversity, because of the tapestry of everyone that lives here. And what the mayor's done is bring us together to harness for positivity and good. And so thank you so much to everyone listening as well. Thank you for joining us. It certainly is an honor to be hosting everyone here and to listen to your ideas as well. So thank you so much, Madam Mayor. This is always your home. Know that Miami-Dade College stands with you. We're committed to Renew 305, and that you have your friends here at the college today and always. Thank you for your leadership, and Godspeed to you as you lead us.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome tonight's moderator from NBC 6, Kelly Blanco.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. We are live tonight from Miami-Dade College, Wolfson campus, for a virtual town hall discussion with Mayor Daniella Levine Cava. Her first town hall since making history as Miami's first woman mayor, marking her 100 days in office and International Women's Day. My name is Kelly Blanco from NBC6. I will be moderating tonight's town hall. Mayor Levine Cava is 4 months into her new role as top executive of the largest county in the state of Florida, and she's facing multiple crises. Over 5,000 Miami-Dade residents have lost their lives due to COVID-19, and thousands are out of work with a long road to economic recovery. Tonight, the mayor will be answering questions directly from Miami-Dade residents. Questions will come from our live audience and from social media using the hashtag DLC100days. The mayor and I will not be wearing masks on stage. We both have recently tested negative for coronavirus and were cleared by Miami-Dade's Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Peter Page. We will, however, keep a distance from each other, and our live audience is required to wear a mask at all times as they are socially distanced. As a Hispanic female, millennial, and professional who gets to live out her dream in her hometown and use the platform that I have to serve my community, it is a great honor and privilege to be with you all here today on International Women's Day, a time to celebrate the economic, social, cultural, and political achievements of women around the world. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the 7th Mayor of Miami-Dade County, our first Madam Mayor, Daniella Levine Cava.
Thank you so much. Thank you. What a privilege.
What time were you tested today for COVID? 6 a.m. or 6:30 a.m.?
I was up very early, but I was tested last night.
I was tested this morning and last night. Informally, my friends call me the mayor of Miami-Dade. But it's only because I know where to get the best tacos and when to tell them to avoid the Palmetto Expressway. So clearly, it's a tough job, but this is a much tougher job. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Well, I'll call you for those
for the tacos. It's great to be here with you and our live audience for this important discussion. As you know, we have a live audience of about 50 members or so, and you will be answering questions directly from them and from our social media audience. We hope to get in as many questions as possible. First and foremost, you oversee a metropolitan government with more than 28,000 employees serving nearly 3 million residents. Today, being International Women's Day, how do you feel standing here today? You know you're a trailblazer, a top executive of the largest county in the state of Florida. Obviously, yes. A very, nerve-wracking, but also you must feel so proud.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for being here tonight, gracing us with your presence. You do such a wonderful job in the media and in the community, and I'm very privileged to have you here, and to Madam President and to Madam Provost. And to Madam Commissioner, hey, happy International Women's Day. How about that?
Amazing.
Yeah. So that kind of proves my point, which is that this is a community of women leaders who have come up and had the courage and had the support to move ahead. And I just love the fact that little girls everywhere are going to think this is very normal. And that I may be the first, but I will not be the last, Madam Mayor, and all the other glass ceilings that will be shattered and have been shattered. I stand on the shoulders of incredible, fearless, courageous women.
Absolutely. 4 months into a role that no other woman has held in Miami-Dade, what barriers have you run into, if any?
Well, it's a new culture that I bring to town. And frankly, they're kind of getting used to it, I think. Yeah, a little laughter here. Of course, I bring some of those traditional
female qualities of compassion, kindness, listening. To me, it's all important that people come to work feeling that they have the support, that they that they're lifted up, that their voices are heard. Wherever I go, I want to hear from people. So not just the community on a town hall such as this, but those in the workforce. We cannot do our jobs as county public servants if we do not make sure that each county employee has all the resources and tools that he or she needs to do a great job. And they have also the answers. They've been doing the work. They know how to make things better. And I think that they have been quiet for too long. And it is my goal to make sure that they have opportunities to lead the way, to showcase the innovation, to help us do things in a more efficient way, and to move this county forward.
Thank you for that. With that said, I want to introduce our first live audience guest with a question, Stacey Lynn Morose, who is part of the Phi Beta Delta International Honor Society here at Miami-Dade College.
Yes, good afternoon. What advice would you give young women today regarding success in a male-dominated industry?
Well, thank you so much for the question and for being here. And let me also acknowledge our Madam Student Council Secretary, another woman trailblazer. So right here in the college, we know that women have been honored and uplifted for a long time, even though we have our first Madam President. So I think that this is the time when we are breaking all barriers. Because of this pandemic, we've kind of hit a reset button, and we're looking for truly talent, creativity, drive, determination, imagination, and this is the time. This is the time when the doors will really open wide for all of those qualities. So, you know, women, from an early age, we're given lots of responsibilities. And throughout life, we bear more than our fair share of responsibilities in our home lives, in the community, as well as in the workplace. So you know you've got it. So you just go, girl. That's what I have to say. Okay.
Let's talk a little bit about unity, dealing with 34 municipalities, of which most have male mayors. You call yourself, end quote, the collaborator-in-chief. How has it been trying to bring all these men to your table?
Well, I was elected to my first office when I was age 59. Now I'm 65. So I brought a lot of experience and a lot of wisdom, convening, as Madam President said. So I'm not intimidated by these guys. And you know, I was raised to reach for the stars. But I will tell you this, I do believe that I wasn't ready to lead until I had the knowledge and the tools to get the job done. So I feel very confident. And I feel that the opportunity to work across those municipalities, across the aisle, across gender, race, ethnicity, every possible diverse aspect of our community is my strength. So first thing I did, I promised it during campaign, and once elected, I reached out to those mayors, and they apparently weren't used to that. So they've been really happy, and I've been really happy to forge new relationships there. 34 mayors, and by the way, 7 of them are women. And let me add that our county commission is also a very diverse place. So we have 5 women on the county commission. We come from diverse political perspectives, but we're all united for the common good for our community. So my first job as collaborator-in-chief is to work with my 13 commissioners to make sure together we can forge a good path forward.
May I add, we share the same birthday.
We do?
September 14th.
Oh my goodness, well.
So when she was like, I'm not intimidated by men, I was like, get it, bird, go. But it's all women.
Excuse me, let me just add that some of the specifics in working with the cities, obviously COVID,
Sure.
so bringing them all together to agree to common purpose, to work on the protections and precautions that were needed to bring us through the pandemic, working with them on issues like sea level rise, water projects, mobility. So the opportunities are huge, and we know that the whole is greater than the sum of the parts, so we have to work together.
We have to work together, absolutely. With that, I will like to start to talk about the bigger picture questions here, which is the pandemic that we are all facing.
Yeah.
Talk to us about the progress that we've made. Numbers are falling, and we now have FEMA sites, and vaccination is picking up.
Yes. Well, I truly feel that we have turned the corner. It is a new day. People are clamoring for this vaccine. They know that's how to get back to normal. And fortunately, with the arrival of the increased production and the federal super sites, we now have more and more people getting access. And, you know, we've been pressing the governor to open up the door even further. He's lowered the age to 60, 50 plus for those with symptoms. No, for teachers and police officers, 18 plus for anybody with comorbidities. So more and more people are able to get the shot. And it's truly exciting because people feel like they're getting their lives back, even though we still must take these precautions and mask up. So I feel that hope is really on the horizon. And in the meantime, people just love it here. They're coming down here. So our economy is going to be booming back.
Yeah, you know, Mayor, yesterday you tweeted, our top priority must be to get shots in arms as fast as possible and to ensure no available vaccine supply goes unused. I urge the governor to expand eligibility requirements to meet the great demand in our community and across the state. Today, Governor DeSantis announced that he's lowering the eligibility age.
Yes.
And CDC also released new COVID guidelines for fully vaccinated people, which means, you know, we are going to be able to hug abuelita and abuelita soon, right? Tell me a little bit about when you think Miami-Dade residents will all be able to get vaccinated and how you're working with the state and federal government to get shots into as many arms as possible.
Right. Well, that has been my theme song, Shots in Arms, and we've been working super hard at the county. I'm so proud of our men and women who have been working in the fire department, Miami-Dade Fire Rescue, our police officers, really across the board, our county employees have stepped up in new ways in this pandemic. So with that said, the state has released what comes through the federal government, but now we've almost tripled. We have tripled the doses that are coming weekly. So we must open it up. We cannot hold back from providing vaccine for those who are ready to take it. Pretty soon we're going to be working on persuading people because there are some people hanging back. And we also are working on that. We have a new team at the county, Vax Now, VACS, and we're working hard to do door-to-door outreach, help people understand that this vaccine is safe and the only way out of the pandemic. So working with the state, the federal government, we introduced them to the Miami-Dade College North Campus as our super site. Let's give another round for Miami-Dade College. Truly, when I went to visit the site last week, I knew that the end was in sight. Such an incredibly efficient, compassionate organization, so many thoughtful, well-trained staff and volunteers, and truly, we're going to be out of the woods very soon as far as the virus is concerned. For those who need vaccine, but we're not going to be able to get through until we follow through on all of these new strains and everything else, and we're going to need to continue to mask up, but we'll be able to restore many parts of our daily lives.
And, you know, I've had a lot of viewers message me, DM me, send me notes about how to navigate conversations with loved ones and family members and friends who maybe possibly don't want to take that vaccine. For those who are listening here and on social media, what can we tell them? How do we navigate those conversations in a respectful way?
Right. Well, I do think that people are slowly coming on board. So in any communications strategy, you have your early adopters, then you have those that are watching, and then you have your holdouts. But we know that we have to get to a certain percentage of the population to truly be safe. So we're going to be helping people understand how safe it is. Here we are, we're 1 million plus, right? 1.7 million in Florida. So we're really on our way to showing the safety now of 3 different kinds of vaccine. And we need trusted intermediaries. We're working through the faith community, pastors who are bringing in their faithful, doctors who reach out to their respective communities, trusted intermediaries to help people to overcome their fears.
Thank you. And now I want to introduce to you Sophia Gallo, who is a student here at Miami-Dade Wolfson campus, and her family has been affected by this pandemic, and she has a question for you.
Good evening. Good evening. My family experienced many challenges because of the pandemic, including caring for a family member who became very ill and having to quarantine as a family as a result. For many families, this has been a time of significant financial struggles. What advice do you have for graduates who are entering the workforce during or after the pandemic?
Well, thank you, Sophia, and I'm so sorry for the challenges your family faced, and so many. And we've lost over 5,000 lives right here in Miami-Dade County from this horrific disease, which strikes indiscriminately, and really it can strike old and young, and there's really no way of knowing for sure who's going to be so badly affected. I think the whole economy is pushing the reset button. We have our existing businesses that have struggled. They've tried so hard to take all the precautions that have been directed to keep people safe, and we need to help them to come back online, and we have, and we will continue to do so. But we also have a new economy, and the new economy is looking for young, bright people like you, looking for people who've had to adapt, who are just agile. And that's what this pandemic has taught us. We've had to adopt in all aspects of our lives, and you'll be able to take that innovation, creativity with you into the new workplace. We're going to talk about tech, I'm sure, but it's not just tech. It's every aspect of our economy is looking for young, bright, determined people who've weathered this storm and come out stronger than ever.
Absolutely. I think we are seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, as you have mentioned in many of your recent remarks. As individuals, we've all had our highs, and we've also had our lows during this time, during this year that we were never expecting to have. Can you share a low point and how you got past it?
Well, for me personally, first of all, I did contract the disease. My husband and I both did. He's a physician. He caught from a patient, and I caught from him. And while I didn't have one of the very severe cases, I definitely had the disease and was affected and was scared. I was truly afraid. Could it take a turn on how I would do? I have some other underlying medical conditions myself, and I'm 65, and I certainly was scared for us. But we knew that we were so fortunate to have a relatively mild case, and we pushed through it, so that was a low point. And the other, just seeing so many people struggle, so many people out of work, so many people whose life savings were lost in the businesses that they'd invested in because they couldn't, there was no way for their particular business to adapt. And just finally, on a personal note, my 2 grandchildren that live in D.C., a year on Zoom. So.
Don't we all know that feeling?
Yes.
Right? A little too much, right?
Yeah.
Madam Mayor, next I'd like you to meet Stephanie, who sent in her question through a video and is actually watching from home right now. Stephanie is an ER nurse at Jackson Health, and she just recently recovered from COVID. Let's take a look.
My name is Stephanie Teraman. I am a Haitian American registered nurse working for the Jackson Health System. I have worked throughout this pandemic alongside registered nurses and physicians. We together have cried together, laughed together, and prayed together for the safety of our patients, our family, and ourselves. Unfortunately, I was diagnosed with COVID-19. During this time, my husband and I suffered a bit due to the fact I was positive for COVID and he was home with the children and had to continue to work also. So my question to you, Mayor Cava, is will there be any resources for families who are affected by COVID-19, alongside benefits and amenities for healthcare workers who are positive for COVID, who have families at home who needs assistance. Thank you.
Well, first of all, you are a shero. Let's say thank you. Incredible. Early in the pandemic, I was so frustrated that we could not provide combat pay for our healthcare workers, that we couldn't provide respite care, that we couldn't provide housing support for those who needed to isolate safely, that you couldn't take vacations, that you were working round-the-clock shifts without days off. And we know that for so many, you were the ones caring for our loved ones when they took their last breath because family members couldn't visit them in the hospital. And you bear that burden. Our healthcare workers bear that burden. So our hearts are with you. So what can we do? Well, we do have housing still available, hotel rooms with meals for those who must isolate and can't do so safely at home, and for our healthcare workers who've been exposed frequently. You know, that's very critical, and that is an underutilized resource. So we want everyone to know that hotel rooms are available. We also have housing assistance for those who've not been able to pay their rent. That's through the Emergency Rental Assistance Program, or ERAP. And thank you to my colleague, Commissioner Higgins, for sponsoring that important legislation. We have $60 million available to pay directly to landlords for those. Yes, thank you. Yes. So that program has been launched, and you know, the checks are in the mail. They're being cut very, very soon. So to all of our affected workers who've lost hours, lost income, we have that. And finally, you know, we've not done what we need to for the health of our healthcare workers. And we have provided the availability of the vaccine, but not made it so readily available. So at the county sites, you're our priority. We want you to come to our county sites. If you've not been able to get vaccinated and you are in the direct healthcare business, we want to hear from you. Yes, I'll finally say we are expecting more money, hopefully, from the federal government now with the America Rescue Plan, and we want to be sure to make families whole, especially those who've done so much to care for us.
That's a great question.
Thank you.
Thank you. Speaking of resources, we have seen wealthier zip codes within Miami-Dade, like Fisher Island, have much greater access to vaccines than zip codes like Overtown, Liberty City, and other poor neighborhoods. What have you done to address this and to bridge the gap?
You know, we saw these alarming statistics that showed that the people that have better access did better in getting access to vaccine. No surprise. We've worked very hard through Miami-Dade County and our available supply to deliver in the most equitable possible fashion. And now we're doing mobile units. We've been to our public housing sites. We are doing homebound for those in our care. And we're doing direct outreach to the hardest to serve neighborhoods. So Jackson also has done a phenomenal job of making sure to reach those areas. You know, it did not happen initially. And I think that was a mistake. I think that the pressure was on to get this vaccine out as quickly as possible with a limited supply. And, you know, it's now the time to make sure that we overcome really those systemic racial and ethnic barriers to getting basic access to health care, not just this vaccine, but all basic services which are missing in so many of our communities. So working hard to overcome that. It's a national problem, but right here at home in this wonderfully diverse community, we need to work harder. We need to make sure that we do it right.
Absolutely. I now want to introduce to you Monica Rodriguez, who is part of the Miami-Dade County Commission for Women.
Good evening, Madam Mayor. Women have been disproportionately affected by the pandemic with higher loss of jobs as well as bearing the brunt of caregiving roles. Because of this, the pandemic has set gender parity and equity back greatly. How do you plan to help women recover from the pandemic stronger and more economically stable than before, with the resources we need to care for ourselves and our families? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Monica, and thank you for your service on our Commission for Women. Let's hear it for our women advocates. They are doing a great job. And we have in Miami-Dade County passed the UN Convention Against Discrimination Against Women in All Forms to make sure that we are tracking women's success. And yes, I'm afraid that this coming year's report is going to really set us back very, very far in terms of income, procurement for contracts, really everything, because it has been truly what we're now calling a she session, not a recession. There was in December calculated 140,000 jobs lost, all to women's jobs in this country, just to give you an example. Because, as you say, the greater burden on child care, family needs, elder care, and so on. I know also enrollment is down in colleges. I know Miami-Dade College, the People's College, where people can get ahead and have new futures. We need to really make sure that as we build back, that we reach out and pull people back in. Schools will be back in session. Child care centers will open again. Adult care centers, senior centers will open again. And it's going to be incumbent upon all of us, all of our employers, to make sure that we catch back up and exceed. So thank you to our women for being on the front lines. And by the way, so many women in the jobs that are most exposed as well, taking the greatest risks. So, ladies, let's get it together and let's put us all back on track.
Moving on to a hot topic, Miami-Dade has been under countywide curfew since the beginning of the pandemic, and you've received a little bit of pushback on this, especially from small businesses who say that they're hurting, and our local economy is too. On Friday, however, you did make a major update, which we all did see, on the future of this curfew, saying that if we hit 5.5% or less in our 14-day positivity average by April 5th, you would lift the curfew. Now we have a question from Mark Alvarez from Westchester, who submitted this question online, and his question is, why is the curfew still in place, and is there a scientific reason to have kept it? Mayor, what is your response to this, and is there a scientific evidence for keeping the curfew in place?
I pledged as mayor to make my decisions based on science and data. And as was mentioned, Dr. Peter Page, our chief medical officer, who cleared us being here today unmasked, has been at the forefront of helping us to navigate these difficult times. In fact, we're looking at all of the new normal guidelines, making sure they're updated, current with the most recent medical data. We've learned a lot about this disease as we've gone forward, and we know that masking works. Masking works. And we know that it's airborne, and when people are in close contact and without the proper precautions, that is how we get the disease. That is how it spreads. And also for younger people who may be asymptomatic, they may be taking it home to people who will contract the disease and have worse outcomes. So the curfew is really one of the important tools in our arsenal. It was confirmed by Jackson that without the curfew, that infection was up, and with it, infection came down. And we are really moving in the right direction with a combination of people taking these precautions and the new vaccine availability. We are hovering between 5 and 6%, and so we're looking good. So we've got spring break in the heat of it. I was out there Saturday night to observe it in Miami Beach. I'll tell you what, there's a lot of close contact without masks. So, and that was before midnight, but we're going to, after midnight, people really leave their cautions to the wind, and that is what we find, and that's what's been reported. So we're going to stick to this program after a 30-day study of the trends and the data. We're going to wait for 5.5%, 2 weeks. That's what's recommended after April 5th. And here's fingers crossed.
And thank you to Mark Alvarez from Westchester who submitted this question. Let's dive a little deeper into the conversation about how we recover our economy. You've said your goal is to build us back stronger than before, and you've launched a couple new initiatives recently that you've said will help us do so. Can you tell us about Renew 305?
Yes, renew. You get it? It's a new economy. We're past recovery. We're on our way up, and we are going to come back supporting those businesses that are here and providing the basic services, but also building that new economy. And everybody wants to be here. People are flocking to Miami and bringing their businesses, and we are working hard to make it happen. Part of Renew 305 is our CEO Ambassadors Program, where our business leaders that are really bullish on Miami are telling their friends, come on down, we'll roll out the welcome mat. We're doing this in coordination with the Beacon Council. I see Mike Finney in the audience, our CEO of the Beacon Council. Thank you, Mike. We're doing it together with Career Source. We have Rick Beasley, who is leading the way there. We already have a $2 million investment for pipeline of jobs, training to these jobs. We have the new industries coming that we're going to connect the folks here. Some of you folks graduating, we're going to put you into these pipelines for these great new jobs. And the point is, when we rebuild, we need to build equitably. And Renew is about the existing economy, including our tourism and especially our cruising industry, that is a real lifeline, and working with apprenticeships, pipelines for jobs, trainings, and to make sure that we can build back better than ever.
Thank you. And you said you were around Miami Beach this past weekend.
Yes, I was.
Tourism in Miami-Dade has been impacted some. We are getting a lot of tourists, and we have also seen a spike in gun violence in Miami Beach. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
It's a sensitive topic, of course, gun violence, but you said we're not just facing a health pandemic, but also facing an epidemic of gun violence. I'd like to introduce Romania Dukes. She is the founder of Mothers Fighting for Justice, a support group for mothers in South Miami-Dade who have lost a child to gun violence.
Happy Wednesday. Day. How are you?
Wonderful to see you, Romania. Thank you.
Thank you. Same here. I'm on behalf of a lot of moms in the South Dade area. And our question is, what are your plans to get a better control of the gun violence in the South Dade area, Goulds, Perrine, Homestead, and Florida City? And now I brought it to everyone's attention that our seniors are now being affected by the gun violence as well. So I'd like to have your thoughts on that.
Thank you so much, Romania, for everything that you do. You are a real lifeline. You've taken your own personal tragedy and turned it into incredible activism for the good of the community, making sure people have PPE, making sure they have food, activities for the children. And we were together walking. Yes. We did a walking one stop yes. last week in South Dade. And this morning I did a walking one stop in North Dade. So we have neighborhoods that are really bearing the brunt of this wanton gun violence. And we stand united. Our law enforcement is on the community beat. Our community groups together working. We knocked door by door, bringing services and hope to the people that live there. They're afraid to go outside, have their children play. This is just not acceptable. And I have spent a lifetime working to bring better quality of life to all of our communities, all of our neighborhoods. And as mayor, we are going to build out and the movement of everybody working together, neighborhood by neighborhood, door by door. We are going to get the young people back into productive activity. We are going to make sure that we track those guns who should not own guns. There's plenty out there that have them illegally, one way or the other, but we need to work with the community, and that is exactly what we're going to do. We are going to do this together, Romania. Thank you.
Now we have Daniella Prier, president of the NAACP local chapter, with a question.
Well, you and I share birthdays, but she and I share a name.
Exactly.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here on tonight, to Madam Mayor and your wonderful team. Thank you for a great start.
Thank you.
My question relates to your economic plan. How will it assist small businesses and aim to make county contracting more fair and equitable?
Thank you so much for the question, and thank you to the NAACP for your incredible advocacy on these critical issues. I am so excited to work with you and with the entire community. We're taking the work I did in South Dade and making it go county-wide. We've got our accelerator under the leadership of Danilo Vargas. We have our Office of Equity and Inclusion. Now we're going to go department by department. We're going to make sure that county government is creating opportunity that is equitable. We're looking at our procurement practices. We're having a procurement town hall in this month. We want everybody's ideas how to fix our procurement practices to make sure that we can, unfortunately, reverse the downward trends. We've actually been going in the wrong direction when it comes to equity in procurement. And we'll be looking at our hiring and promotion practices as well as bias. So we are going to be bringing an economic agenda, a cultural agenda, a training agenda, so that we can all feel proud that we are really standing up as the exemplar of a community that really embraces everybody and lifts up all communities. That's been truly my life's work, and together I know we're going to really get there. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I want you to expand a little bit on Office of Equity and Inclusion. Under your leadership, what are some new initiatives that we will see that will help manage racial relations in the community?
Well, I did talk about some of the things that are internal to the county, but as well, I'll mention that we have as part of our team Shireen Floyd, who's an expert on analysis and metrics. So we're going to be setting some benchline indicators and making our plans to progress and then sharing with the community what we've done internal. And we're also going to be bringing to the table all of those that share this same agenda. This is not just a county government challenge. It is a community challenge. So we know we've talked to many in the academic world, in the private business world, other agencies. We want everybody to work with us so that we can truly transform our community to one that is truly equitable, not just one where we talk the talk, but where we really walk the walk. So we'll be finding ways to showcase best practices, look across the nation to exemplars. And Jason Smith is our director of the Office of Equity and Inclusion. I think I saw Jason here today. So, well, let's give him a shout out. Yay, Jason. And headed up by, I should mention a couple of other key people on my team. My senior advisor for innovation and performance is Rahel Welda Jesus, and equity and inclusion and engagement falls in her portfolio. Yay, Rahel. And we see George Andrews here, who's our senior advisor for policy and planning, and he's setting up our economic development initiative along with the Beacon and others, and Miami-Dade College, which will be a key partner. So thank you so much, George. Yeah. I have my chief of staff, Joanna Cervone, here. Yay, Joe. She is air traffic controller. Not really. Just the air in my office. There's a lot of traffic. So proud to have you all on my team.
Keeps you busy.
And actually, let me mention, I have 4 chiefs. Chief J.D. Patterson for public safety. He's our former police director. He's over police, fire, medical examiner, and corrections. And he is a man who does walk the walk and is well known and beloved. Morris Copeland is our first ever chief of community services. All of the outward facing services, social services, housing, animal services, libraries, He's overseeing our no wrong door policy, where people can find the help they need no matter where they start. Chief Jimmy Morales is our Chief Operations Officer. He's got all the infrastructure, water and sewer, transportation, solid waste, building and zoning. And our Chief Financial Officer, Ed Marquez, who makes sure that we're fiscally sound. And thank you. Thank you, everybody. And I see we have Al Sanchez here with the Greater Miami Chamber and Chairwoman Irene White from FPL, and they are also part of our Renew 305 strategy. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you for being here and for sharing internationals. Want to say with us. Now we have a question from Raydel Santos from Kendall. We're moving on to a crisis that Miami-Dade has been facing for some time now, which is affordability. Some would say it's too expensive to live here, and the pricing is basically kicking many families out. This is his question. There's a housing crisis, and with property values soaring and hedge funds and other investors buying up the already low inventory of housing units available, the problem is forcing many residents to spend more than 50% of their income on housing. What are you as mayor and Miami-Dade County Commission doing to build more affordable housing units throughout Miami-Dade?
Very good, very important. And let me acknowledge Eric Knowles of Miami-Dade Chamber, who is with us here as well, working on our Renew 305 strategy, and Brother Lyle from Neighbors for Neighbors, thank you, and Circle of Brotherhood, Brother Lyle, thank you. I'm just looking out here, and we have so many wonderful people in our Convention and Visitors Bureau, and this is a problem. You get started, and it takes a village, right? So, housing. Look, we are the least affordable place in America today by many accounts, because our salaries are relatively low and our costs are high. So the cost of living is really out of sight for most people, and especially now in the pandemic, all the more so. And we have a critical housing shortage for the workforce and for people who are working minimum wage and so on. So there are a number of things that we can do. We need to have public-private partnerships, because government can't solve these problems alone. And I was driving around Liberty City yesterday after church, and we were looking at one of the projects Related Urban is overseeing. It's now going to be a mixed income project. The important point here is not gentrifying people out of the neighborhood. We need to make sure to preserve as we build better and help make sure that we do not displace people. That is a key priority for me, but these public-private partnerships will bring in money that will help us rebuild. Also, the county has properties. We're inventorying all of them. We're going to make sure that they're utilized to build the most accessible housing, and we're building denser along the corridors, the transit corridors. That helps us as well. So we have to be extremely aggressive, and I will be convening a town hall specifically on this issue, bringing developers and advocates together so that we can be sure to build out what we need to help our people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And how do we keep those who are living in affordable housing safe? Because that's a big deal. Gun violence in some of these areas are kicking basically those people out of those zones. What are you doing to keep them safe?
You know, sadly, many crimes are down, but assaults and murders are up. So this is across America. So this is part of what we're dealing with now with this gun violence epidemic. So, we're working with our law enforcement to be on the beat on the streets, communicating. We may have gotten a tip here today that might be able to solve a crime just by talking with people. So, it takes everybody working together, and it takes trust. It takes people feeling that government is really there to help, and so that's part of it. The other part is we need to live in neighborhoods that don't look run down. We need our housing to be, thank you, yes, we need to revitalize our neighborhoods. We need to make sure that people take care because they're proud of where they live, and they say no to people coming in that would exploit and take advantage. So there's a lot we can do, and Look, I've done 3 walk-arounds in the last week, and I will be out there walking and knocking until we get it done.
Going on to another important topic, and one that we know that is personal to you after your husband's bike accident, we have a video question in Spanish from James Barbosa. He and his family are avid cyclists, and he has a question for you, pero en español.
Es James Barbosa, vivo aquí en Miami. Quiero dar agradecimiento a usted, alcaldesa Levin Cava, por lo que está haciendo por la comunidad. Especialmente quiero hacerle la pregunta a todos los que hacemos ejercicios exteriores, cuando montamos bicicleta o corremos, sitios que están dedicados para precisamente el ciclismo o el atletismo, vemos que los carros pasan demasiadamente cerca. Quisiera yo saber cómo mejoraría esto para estar más seguros y poder practicar más deportes afuera. Muchas gracias.
Bueno.
Excelente pregunta.
De verdad, estamos viviendo en una área en donde los motoristas no están prestando atención. Están pensando en otras cosas, mirando a sus teléfonos o no sé qué, y es muy, muy peligroso. Tenemos más fatalidades y accidentes que en otras áreas, muchos más. Y yo tengo un plan y estamos siguiendo adelante, no solamente para mi esposo, que también cayó por un choque con carro y rompió su brazo y su bicicleta también. Pero tenemos 4 cosas importantes en nuestras prioridades, que las calles son para gente, son para las personas, no solamente para los carros, primero. Sí. Voy a traducir después. I'll translate in a minute. We need better. Necesitamos mejor tránsito. El sistema de tránsito falta y tenemos que mejorarlo pronto. Y tenemos que hacer todo con innovación y sostenibilidad para el futuro y finalmente con equidad y acceso. Entonces, esas son las prioridades y tenemos planes llamados Visión Cero y calles completas y un master plan para los peatones, miles y miles de áreas protegidas para las bicicletas. Okay, so we truly live in a place that is dangerous for pedestrians and bicyclists. We have one of the highest fatality and accident rates. And not just because my husband was hit by a car, broke his arm and his bicycle, but for everybody. Here are the 4 principles. Number 1, streets are for people. All right? Yes, we have cars, but streets are for people too. We should not be competing with cars for safety. Yes. We need better transit. Our transit system is not up to par with a world-class city, and we need to rebuild better, and we're working on it. We need to build with innovation and sustainability in mind, with rising seas and climate change, and we need to build equitably and make it accessible. So those are our principles, and we do have plans that are going to come off the shelves and into practice in my administration. We have a Vision Zero plan. That means 0 pedestrian and bicycle deaths. Complete streets, miles and miles of protected pathways, guideways for our bicycles and our pedestrians, and a pedestrian-first master plan. So I'm really excited and looking forward to big changes and making us truly a world-class mobility center. Thank you so much.
And this is, of course, a good segue to continue on to the issue of transit. Before the pandemic, transit was one of our biggest issues, me knowing that as a traffic reporter and seeing all the accidents daily. Talk to me a little bit more about the plan for public transit system that you're trying to accomplish, your goal of getting residents out of their cars. Of course, Miami-Dade is a wonderful place. Our weather is incredible most of the time when it decides not to be bipolar. So we should be out on our bikes, and we should feel safe about it.
Yes. Well, again, I have to give a shout out to Commissioner Higgins, who now chairs our Transportation and Mobility Committee, and she has very, very aggressive plans, and I support her 100%. We're moving forward on several of these major new corridors. They are truly going to make cars optional. So we have our South Dade corridor. We're going to be building out that bus rapid transit system, which will get people safely and quickly to the Metro Rail. With covered and climate-controlled stations, level boarding, prepaid fares, frequent boardings. So that, plus we now have plans approved to go east-west, which will be a major accomplishment in the vicinity of the airport and west. And our the 836 Dolphin Expressway Park and Ride is open for business, and that express bus with the dedicated lane is coming back online, and we're completing the engineering, I think, within the year for Miami Beach. Also, Northeast Corridor, Brightline is moving forward, and we're accepting proposals now are coming in for the North Corridor. So there's quite a lot of progress to be seen in the very near future, as well as some of our last mile solutions. So I'm very hopeful.
You're obviously dealing with the pandemic as mayor, but during your time as county commissioner, you were very vocal about climate, the environment, and protecting our clean water. What are you doing to prioritize Miami's need to limit or to adapt to climate change impacts?
Truly, climate change is our existential crisis. You know, everything else is right here in the moment. Climate change you might not totally see, but if you're watching, you will see the extreme weather events, the flooding, so much that really tells us that we have to be planning aggressively. Some of the signs right now, the fish kill in the bay. We have a new chief bay officer whose job it is to make sure we bring everybody together to solve that problem. We're moving forward with fertilizer ordinance to reduce the nutrients that go into the bay, with cleanup of some of the arteries, the transition from septic to sewer so that as the seas rise, that pollution does not come into the bay, and our water and sewer system as well, which is having breakdowns and we need to address very, very urgently. So I am the water warrior. I am fighting to protect our drinking water, our fresh water, our natural environment. Our water is our economy, our bay is our economy, and we have to work harder than ever. We also are bringing clean energy. We just advanced shore power at the port because now all of our major cruise companies have agreed to sign on to plugging in instead of belching fumes when they're at port. That's going to be a huge benefit to us. Also, we've been transforming our fleet. Electric buses, electric vehicles for the county, and aggressive carbon neutral policies. At least we're heading with the Paris Climate Treaty to exceed the goals set by that treaty. We know that we have a ways to go, but we are going to work really aggressively with solar, electric infrastructure, and stay tuned this next month. We're going to be rolling out our climate change strategy, and we're going to need your input to make it reality.
Yeah, you recently just released the forward-thinking strategy on sea level rise.
We did.
Tell us more.
Well, you know the sea is rising, okay? And we can see it, and we know it's coming, and we have to build smarter. We have to build higher. We have to do fill. We have to allow water to flow. We have to find ways to live with water, a more watery environment. But we also need to make sure that we are making the infrastructure that will help us get through rising seas. So along with the other things, climate change, where we're reducing our carbon, we also have to adapt, and that's what the sea level rise strategy is all about.
Being that we are at the epicenter of climate change here in Miami-Dade, do you see, if any, opportunity for us to lead the nation on the issue? Also, one of our greatest natural resources here that this county has to offer is the Florida Everglades. What are we doing to protect them?
Well, I am a Florida Evergladian. That's what I do in all of my spare time. And there are mosquitoes, but, you know, just at dusk. It's a wonderful paradise. Truly, it's one of the great wonders of the world and a great treasure. We have 2 national parks here in South Florida, Biscayne National and Everglades, the only place in the country that can boast 2 national parks. So we need to restore it with fresh water flow. 1/3 of all of Florida depends on the Everglades for its fresh water, right flowing in the Everglades. We need to make sure that the water is cleaned so that it comes through in a way that helps the natural environment as well as our water supply. And, we need to work to understand and appreciate the beauty, the serenity, and the essential interaction that we have with the Everglades.
And I believe we're going to take one audience question on climate. Okay, we're going to skip that. Okay, no problem. Let's see, we're going to take it on to our social media question that just came in from Bobby. What has been easier about your job than you imagined, and what have you found more challenging?
Okay, easier than I imagined.
Sure.
I have felt so welcomed. I have felt welcomed wherever I go in the community. I have felt welcomed in county government with our great workforce. I felt welcomed by the business community. So I don't know what I expected, but I'll tell you what, it's pretty sweet. Truly.
A lot of years
Yes.
of preparation. Okay, now we have Lavette. What is your plan to do outreach in underserved communities, Black, brown, and homeless, as it relates to the hesitancy surrounding the vaccine?
Well, Lavette has offered to help me with that. So, Lavette, that's part of the plan. I'll call you on it. But truly, this is the point that we're at. We've turned the corner in terms of opening up the access to the vaccine, and now we need to make sure people feel comfortable. And going to people one-on-one, bringing trusted friends, advisors, pastors, intermediaries of all kinds. And so we do have our Vax Now team. We've asked for county employees to step up, to volunteer, to be part of the effort. We are also working with CareerSource to bring people on board to do door-to-door outreach. The federal government is here to help, and we are going to leave no arm behind. How about that?
Okay, we have another live question coming in from Olivia Martin Johnson, who's actually here. She's a student at Gulliver Prep.
Great.
Good evening, Madam Mayor. In light of International Women's Day, my question is on the wage gap. In 2019, the wage gap in Miami-Dade was 14.2%, but in 2017, it was at 13.7%, meaning the gap is widening rather than narrowing, which is a big concern for the next generation, which includes more women in the workforce. So my question then is, what could we do to combat this issue in our community?
Thank you so much, Olivia, for your thoughtful question. And after all, it is your future, right? And so our Commission for Women at the county and the other commissions are all on this challenge. And it has so many components. First, we have to expose it. You know, if you don't see it, if you don't know it, then you can't do anything about it. Within Miami-Dade County, we have much less of a wage gap, but we did find, for example, that women were not necessarily identifying when they got advanced degrees or finished their college degree, which would allow them to increase their wages. So we changed the policy to make sure that whenever anyone got more education, it would be reflected. In the private sector, people need to do the analysis, look at the wages. They'll be surprised what they find. They think they're not biased. They think they're not paying less. Another thing is we have to work with young women like you and help you know your worth. So when you go for that job interview, you don't sit back and wait to see what they offer. You let them know that you're worth so much more and that you know what others are making. So we need to work with you to help you bridge that gap. We need to expose the inequities, and our Office of Equity and Inclusion also includes the women's factor too. Thank you.
And on that, I did want to ask you, there's conversations that happen in the workplace where sometimes women don't want to tell you, or don't want to tell each other what they're making. How do you feel about that? Being one of the only women throughout your career, did you ever have those conversations? How can we go about having those conversations with our friends, with our colleagues, so that we're not left in the dark?
Yeah. Well, now that I'm in county government, there are really no secrets. So everybody busily looks up everybody's salary online. So there's really no point in holding back. So I think transparency is important. I think it makes sure that there is fairness and a level playing field. And I think we shouldn't be afraid to share, whether it's salary or experiences that maybe need to be addressed in the workplace. For example, now people are coming to me and telling me things they never told me when I was a commissioner. Just saying. And you know what? Every time I learn about something that is unfair, I am going to do my very best to address it.
Okay. We have another social media question just coming in. How are you going to fully implement the Better Bus Project, and what is the current timeline on the discussion of each bus route with the BCC? Thanks, Gabriel.
Well, Gabriel, you must be part of that effort, which was phenomenal. It's really a grassroots effort, and I want to say thanks to the Transit Alliance, thanks to our other transit advocates who've worked so hard. And you know I've been the champion of the Better Bus Project and Network, which is truly going to make a huge difference for our bus riders. It will lead to more frequency on the best utilized routes, and it'll make sure that we don't leave others behind. So I'm a big fan, and as I understand it, it's moving forward, probably coming to Commissioner Higgins' committee tomorrow. Well, that's the best answer of the day. So we are committed.
Let's move on to something we've been all talking about lately a whole lot. We've seen an influx of folks from across the country, especially in the tech industry, leave their home states and move here to Miami-Dade County. Mayor Suarez has made this one of his top priorities to appeal to these folks and bring them to Miami. Do you see Miami-Dade becoming this new tech hub in America?
Yes, I do. Why wouldn't you want to live here, right? This is paradise. And so when people can work virtually, when we have just this incredible lifestyle, why wouldn't our innovators want to live here? And we welcome them, and it's part of our Renew 305 to support those efforts. The important thing is to not do it and leave those who live here behind. The important thing is to make sure that the opportunities translate to jobs right here in Miami-Dade County. The important thing is to make sure that there's training and job pipeline and apprenticeships, because we have the talent. We have the talent. Also important not to leave out the homegrown tech innovators. We've got them. So we're going to do this in an equitable way, in an inclusive way, and the business leaders I've spoken to are all about it. They see that we are unique in our diversity and our inclusion, and they want to be part of it, and they want to contribute to giving back. So that's who we're reaching out to.
And how does Miami-Dade plan on increasing tech talent? Traditionally, it is from the university systems nearby.
Well, we have great colleges and universities right here. Miami-Dade College. Yes, indeed. We have great institutions. And for example, Knight Foundation, that's headquartered here, just made a $10 million gift to FIU School of Engineering for tech and engineering scholarships and faculty. They are going to be increasing manyfold their capacity to staff these jobs. University of Miami also, and others. So we have the talent at the university level. But they're also going to be reaching out to the school system because we have to have that talent pipeline. And we need to get young people interested and engaged in these careers and then support them to get the further training that they need. So we're on it.
It's exciting stuff.
It is very exciting.
Madam Mayor, you are a lawyer and a social worker by training. It is my understanding you did not plan to get into politics. Yes. And here you are. We have our first female mayor of Miami-Dade, and we also witnessed a woman finally making it to the White House. For all the women who are joining us here today in person and virtually who might be considering running for office but just aren't sure if they should, what do you want to say to them on International Women's Day?
Well, it's true, Kelly, I'm a late bloomer. I would say, like, don't wait. You don't not need to know everything to start moving forward. You just need to have a commitment to service. You have to have a desire to get things done, and you need to have a network. I will say this. If you plan to run for office, ladies, you do it, but you be sure that you've got those ladies backing you up and those men too, and that comes from service, from relationships, from networks, and that's how you get it done.
And what message would you like to say to the Spanish-speaking women of our community que están viendo ahorita mismo?
Señoras, señoritas, niñas, aquí estamos juntos peleando para todos nosotros, para una mejor vida, y estamos unidos en un futuro mejor para toda la comunidad, pero hoy especialmente estamos pensando en las mujeres y sabemos que juntos siempre podemos, siempre venceremos y juntos podemos suceder y estoy aquí lista para ayudar en sus esperanzas, sus sueños. And ladies in English as well, I'm here to support you in your dreams, in your hopes, in your aspirations. My personal mission is talent scouting for world benefit. En español, mi carrera de corazón es buscar talento para hacer un mundo mejor para todos. So if you are ready to be talent and be discovered to make the world better, then I want to help out. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you for your 100 days, and we look forward to seeing what else you and your team will be doing. It's been a true delight, Madam Mayor. Thank you so much for allowing me to moderate tonight's town hall and for a great conversation on many of the issues that our residents are facing. A huge thank you to Miami-Dade College and all the partners who made tonight possible, to our live audience, and of course, our virtual audience as well. Thank you for joining us. Good night, Miami-Dade. Stay safe.
And there's more to explore.